Hello everyone, hope you all are safe. So today we are going to talk about ChatGPT and what are its capabilities. So in my recent talk to Xavier Institute of Management Bhubneshwar, I gave a detailed talk in terms of what is ChatGPT, what it is capable of, whether it's a threat for jobs or if it is a productivity tool. So it's a kind of a brainstorming session, open discussion where we discuss in detail, and you should definitely watch it if you are looking for similar queries. And do let me know in the comment section if there are any query that I did not cover. I'll be happy to interact with you. So look forward for this discussion.
Technology can both be a boon and a bane, depending on how it is used and the context in which it is applied. On one hand, technology has brought numerous benefits to the society. On the other hand, it has also brought challenges and negative impacts such as privacy concerns, cybersecurity threats, and job displacement. One such technological marvel is ChatGPT. Although till now it has been one of our biggest helps, but unlike other gifts of technology, is it free from negative effects? Let us find out with Mr. Anil Bajpai, Senior Assistant Vice President at EXL Health, one of the leading names in Indian healthcare industry that combines deep domain expertise with analytic insights and technology enabling services to transform how care is delivered, managed, and paid. For the past 4 years, Sir has held the leadership position at EXL, where he oversees a large delivery team spanning across the US, Canada, the Philippines, and India. With over 15 years of expertise in the IT industry, Sir has collaborated with various product and service companies. Together with his team, he has successfully developed numerous applications that cater to a global user base of millions. Currently, he is actively involved in multiple projects that center around leveraging cloud technologies and AI-based solutions to drive the digital transformation of client workflows. Apart from his professional commitments, he finds pleasure in sharing his knowledge and insights through writing articles on platforms like LinkedIn and Medium. Engaging with others in these spaces allows him to foster meaningful interactions and exchange ideas. With immense pleasure, I would like to welcome Anil sir to address the audience and provide his insights on the topic ChatGPT, a threat to human jobs or a tool towards excellence. We look forward to having an engaging and insightful session. So over to you now.
Thank you, Sefali, and giving this great introduction. And I just look back my entire journey of 15 years. So this session today, it's going to be engaging one. I do not want just I will be speaking and you guys are hearing and making you bored. After this 1 hour session, I want you to go with some insights, knowledge, and experience. And as I was talking to Priyanshu and Gaurav on the other room, we talked about that most of you are engineers or the working professionals. So you already have some good knowledge in terms of what is expected from you when you are working in any organization. I want to start with a story that Jeffrey Hinton, who was, and this is by the way available on my YouTube channel. So a part of my job, I also maintain a YouTube channel where I just keep posting videos that I like. These students are asking me about. So I posted a recent video which is Godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, quits job at Google. And he has been working since 2012 on an idea which is helpful in creating Bard and Chat GPT kind of a product. And the idea behind it, he's also scared. So, like Safali started talking about, technology can be curse or boon, right? The way you want to utilize it. That's true. So ChatGPT, which is very powerful tool, very powerful tool in terms of adding productivity, adding knowledge, and making it really faster than Google, I would say. And that's where Google share were down, right? You all must be aware about it. So why he quit this organization? He thinks if ChatGPT or Bard or any generative AI, as an example, that is misused, it can be threat to humans. And when I'm saying it is very serious, right? When I'm saying it is threat to humans, it is not because of job, right? Just think about that all the news website which are currently There are correspondents, there are editors, there are entire workflow of how the news is captured and then published. Just think about a scenario if it is controlled entirely by AI, how disastrous it can be. These AI system can play with the news, which to you may look authentic and may not be. Right? So it's very dangerous. The ultimate result could be if it is misused. So that's the reason how internet is started. There are two uh, side of the internet as well, right? And I'm sure that you are aware about the dark internet. So how many are you aware about dark internet? Can you please raise your hand? Oh my God, everyone, lower your hand. I have a good idea that now when we are talking about internet, it has two sides. One as the positive one. Obviously, we are doing transactions, we are meeting on Zoom. That's all possible because of the positive side of the internet, right? We are virtually meeting. We all are across India and we are meeting today. That's possible because of technology or the internet. But the other side is dark internet, right? Positive use of internet because there are certain guidelines, protocols that are established and all the organizations are following it, right? Because of that only we are able to use internet. Mr. Hinton, since he could not find a way to create a guideline so far, I'm not saying that it is not possible, but so far it is not available. There are no clear guidelines how to take care of AI or how to use artificial intelligence. That is where he quit. So that's the starting message I want to set, that if you guys think AI on the positive side, there are negative sides as well, and some of you might come and use it in your project and your career. So these are some of the guardrails that you should be aware about. There will be few protocols and guidelines prepared, but let's see when it comes. So talking in terms of Chat GPT, there are different and how it evolved. So Chat GPT itself was launched in 2018. That time it was just called as GPT, using two artificial intelligence model, GAN and VAE. So GAN, generative adversarial network, and VAE stands for variational autoencoders, right? So these are the two deep learning models that ChatGPT uses. And as most of you might have used it, right? Can we have raise hand again who have used ChatGPT or Midjourney? Almost everyone is aware about it. You can lower your hands now. As you know that it is really useful for conversational purpose. 2018 it was first created, and then 2019 it was involved as ChatGPT 2 version, and then 2019 sorry 2020 it was ChatGPT 3. So from ChatGPT 3 onwards you have seen that it has become useful for public domain. And ChatGPT 4, which is right now available on a subscription based model, that is $20 if you want to use it individually. And for organization, like EXL is also investing a lot of money on onboarding this technology. But as we started, right, we we work on a US healthcare industry, right? When we work on US healthcare industry, it is important that we should use any public model like ChatGPT very carefully, because you might have heard that the famous story from Samsung where they took help from ChatGPT. They also asked some of the questions which are confidential to their organization, right? And then ChatGPT is kind of a speaker who also listens, right? So what it does, it also incorporated all this data which Samsung employees have used over the period of time to take help from ChatGPT, and based on that it started answering, right? So just think about a scenario, US healthcare, where you have to take care of PHI, PII, and these are like very confidential. If the company's data is public, even a single person can sue the organization. So that has to be taken care of very uh, with sincerity. So we cannot just go and use ChatGPT for our use in healthcare business. We have to find a model where we can adopt this for using on-prem or within the premises or within the client's network. So that's what we are evaluating ChatGPT's capabilities for. Now I talked about that ChatGPT 4. That's the topic for today. We talked about what is the overview and significance of ChatGPT. It's a generative AI based tool which helps you for a conversational based messaging. And just think about a scenario, right? When we do any research, being a working professional, it requires to do a lot of research on various topics, right? How we in general do, and how actually I have done in the past, I used to go on Google, collect information from one website, then use this as a reference and searching it on another website. And obviously, after taking reference from multiple website, including Wikipedia and so many so others website, right? I found finally conclude and create that report out of that analysis, that this particular company has these many clients, has worked on several products. Some of the information is available on their own website, and finally we concluded, okay, this is the conclusion, that these are the products that this company is working for, right? So my job responsibility also requires sales, right? So for example, I'm traveling today to US to meet some of the clients who are interested in some of our product and services. But before meeting them, it is required to do enough research, what they do, what is their pain area, and finally, what is the right product that we can suggest to them. Similarly, if we are doing all this research on their website, on Google, and then finally concluding it, ChatGPT, for now, it just have the data which is 2 years back, 3 years back, I believe, right? But just think about a scenario when it has a real-time information which is updated as updated today. You just ask the question and it is so powerful that it can answer all your question based on the data it is fed it, right? Which requires hours of research. By doing googling, you should be able to get those answers immediately. So that is the power of chat gpt, because it's a conversational and it answers all your questions which are designed based on the data it is fed it, right? So that's the power. Now, what are the capabilities of ChatGPT, right? What it can do? Can it send you an email? Obviously, no. Can it remind you on push-up notification? Answer is no. Can it create a Google Map kind of functionality? Answer is no, right? So you should understand what are its capabilities. It's AI model, which basically responses based on the question you ask. It remembers the entire conversation, right? It is not a chat bot which we used to see, that is driven through a rule model, right? You ask a couple of questions, it takes you through a IVR kind of system, right? In general, when we call to any IVR, so that is called a contextual search, right? Where you just go through a tree like a model. First you ask, okay, I want to talk to you in Hindi or English, and then I want to ask you question about my credit card, if it is a banking application. And then certainly, if you just go and start asking about loan, it is clueless. That is how the chat bots that we used to see, and that was not very interesting. And in my lifetime, I just could implement single chat bot because that is not much in demand. But in terms of chat GPT, it knows entire context. It knows that it can switch from loan department to a credit card system on the go, right? But it has limitation. It can answer your questions, it can reply based on the data it is fed it from it is 175 billion plus parameters, which is currently it is running on. So just think about what are the capabilities. It can definitely a risk for art, right? Your storytelling. It is a risk for content creation job, that I see very clearly, right? But could it be a risk for developer programmers? I don't think so. At least ChatGPT 4 is not so mature. So in terms of capabilities, if I talk about, it can help you with customer support, virtual assistant, education and learning. So education and learning, as we talked about, right? If you need to do a research about a particular topic which takes hours of time, it can make it really simplified for you, and you can do it in minutes. It can also be helpful for content generation. So for example, this presentation that I'm doing, right? My job responsibilities are so hectic, so I cannot actually go and create that good presentation for this discussion, for example, today. So what I did, I just asked, hey, ChatGPT, I want to take a session on ChatGPT. What are the topics that I need to tell to the students? This is what it created for me. So this version that you see, obviously all these topics are driven from ChatGPT. So it helps you in content creation, right? It helps you content curation. If I want to refine it, I can feed it back and it can help me with the more refined version of it based on the audience. It can also be used for personal productivity. So for example, that I just told you, right? I want to do it faster. I don't want to spend a lot of time in creating this. So I just asked ChatGPT and it helped me with list of topic. And if I want to go in detail and ask about some of the details around these topics, it can provide me very easily. Information retrieval, right? So right now, I do not think it is providing the latest information which is available over the internet, but in future it is expected. How many of you have seen this Google I/O that happened few days back? Okay.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. I'm Omkar Sharma from XIMB BM batch of 2024. I think the feature in which it was able to communicate to the email. So it was able to read the email and then reply back to the email. So that was one feature that was really eye-catching for me because it hold all the information that was there in the previous email and it made a new email, the written that was there in the email, along with the same number, along with the same date, and then it captivated the same thing.
Right. So this is an example of like if someone's flight is cancelled, right? And flight is cancelled because of any reason, and that pretty much happened to me because some of the time because of bad weather or some other reasons, if I miss a flight and it takes a lot of time to coordinate with uh, that flight attendants and their department, right? So that's the use case that Sundar Pichai took, and where he just showed one example where flight cancellation and they are giving some voucher, right? And the person wants full refund rather than a voucher used for next trip. That's so beautiful, right? You, it is not just OCR, it is not just NLP. With OCR and NLP, and I'm sure that you guys are aware. If you are not, maybe you can stop me and ask this question: what is OCR and NLP? But on a higher level, OCR is, for example, this is an image, right? This is a document which is image format. OCR helps you extract text out of this document. So that is the OCR, optical character recognition, right? This was pretty much predominantly the version that we used to do for check processing, for document processing. So OCR is one of those, and then NLP comes, right, which helps you translating this information into meaningful data. So just think about a scenario: the Bard AI or the AI, how they are saying it, write an email, right? Something like that. They are using the jargon. So this helps understanding the entire context of the email. It takes out the necessary information. What is the transaction number? What is the travel date? What is the traveler name, right? And then based on that, it creates that email for you, a detailed email, which takes a lot of time. And in future, it is quite possible that it can even look at the internet and find more information. Right now, it is just using email information, which is present. That is how it is powerful. And some of the limitation on chat gpt also we talked about, right? That is today it cannot book a cab for you, but I'm sure it will certainly do in the near future. In the last IO, Sundar Pichai talked about a very great use case. There are several, and since I'm from a US healthcare domain, I understand that it is health is very much important for everyone. That's a only domain where there will be no recession. We are talking about the diabetes, which is most common problem in India and outside India. And there are a lot of tests. There are pre-diabetic, diabetic, and obviously there are regular courses for taking care of your health. And the test process is also very painful. Every time you go to a test center, they take your sample by taking out your blood. Right? It's a very painful process. They created a machine learning model. By scanning your retina, they should be able to predict what is your diabetes at this level, where it will be in future based on just the retina scan. No painful process, quick results, and based on the sample data that they study. So this is not possible without several data feed through the diabetes, and they created a profiling of all retina scans and creating the system, right? So this is how there are several applications which are creating a lot of impact in the healthcare business as well as other businesses as well. Another example that I want to pick: how many of you receive that foreign number WhatsApp text to like YouTube videos and earn money? Okay, this Janta is pretty aware. That's good. So on this use case, right? If you just go and see for an individual system or for an individual company, right? Where things like some foreign numbers are texting you, and they are texting you for a reason. If there will be any scam or fraud, you do not have a number that you can report where the cyber security team can trace back. So scammers are always one step smarter than the normal people who create guidelines. Think about it. They start sending you text messages on WhatsApp from foreign numbers and then ask you to like videos to give you 150, 200, and they give actually, right? They give that information and they give that money to you. By paying that money, they take your PAN card, they take your account number, they take all the necessary information, your date of birth and everything, and they ask them to invest some more money and give you a better result, right? So you go and invest on that, and finally you actually trapped. And the reason for that is they have all your information. Now they just ask you and ask you some random day for OTP. You give that OTP and they have rest of the information and they pull all your money out. So this is on individual level. Just think about banks, organizations which have plenty of money, right? Scammers, hackers, are they not thinking about hacking those money directly? Because that's pretty much they can, if they just hack one account, they have enough for lifetime. They also attempt, and there are designated teams in all the banks, all the organization who just work on how to protect themselves, right? So another use case where it is fraud protection, that is also possible because of AI. If some person is doing some activities which are more aligned that it will potentially gonna cause loss to the business, they are caught at the first sight. For example, one of my friend was using Google AdSense, and he was authentic person. Right? He was just started selling uh, his bakery products on Google. So he started with all that account setting where he's selling these pastries, cakes on this Google AdSense account, and started engaging people on digital marketing. This is okay. Google understand what your business model is. Certainly, on one day, the amount that he credited was 1 lakh, 2 lakh, whatever it was. He started doing it for promoting his YouTube channel. So Google understand that it started engaging the audience based on one business model. Now he's changing the model, which means he's not going to serve the same services and product where he started this account. And that is a fraud detection for Google, and they stopped their Google AdSense account immediately. That is how this AI model can also help you based on different business cases. We talked about US healthcare, we talked about the finance fraud detection, and I gave you another example. Concerns regarding job displacement. So, as I mentioned, it is not going to take any job if you use it. And you all, and since you are an aware audience, right? You know, this was the same fear at the time of when calculator was launched, right? All the finance people started crying about it, that it will be taking a lot of jobs. Then the same fear came when there was computers, right? And some of you who closely monitored your parents, grandparents, they had same fear, right? But did it take any job? No, it also enabled other jobs. Then there was the same problem with internet. right? So new technology is not taking any of the jobs if you master it, right? So in terms of job displacement, I do not see any threat. Even a company like EXL started already talking about how do we invest in it, how do we take care of more work because of this new technology enablement. Definitely there is a concern for those who are in art or content creation, but for them also, right? If they use this tool and be productive, the task they used to complete in a week, if they should be able to do in hours, obviously this is going to add productivity and there will be more clients for them. So the fundamental guiding principles are remaining the same. Use the tool. This is going to create more jobs for you. Impact on specific industries and professions. So how many of you used GitHub? Can you please raise your hand? Like, so there are several folks who are engineer community and they know how this tool and I what it does, just in case you are doing a peer programming, right? In the peer programming, it adds productivity. How? That if you're writing a code, someone sitting with you, he or she points you out, hey, this is not the right way, Anil. You should also think about a scenario to cover and write test cases or the test or your script accordingly, right? Very similarly, GitHub also launched a code assistant. What it does, it helps the coder along with the when you are writing a code, you just write the comment, right? I want to retrieve the data from employee table, and it just create that script right away. So the time that you take, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and sometimes even more to write that piece of code, this tool enables you to write it faster. So that is available on $10 license per month, but it is eventually very helpful in terms of productivity. Similarly, for content creation, we talked about ChatGPT, generative AI. If professions like art or content generation or the creative writing, if or the even the bloggers, right? If they use ChatGPT or similar capabilities, they should be able to do it much faster. If they were able to write article on let's say Medium on 2 days or 3 days, they should be able to write in hours. So that's where they should be able to be they should be more productive. Similarly, for uh, developers, the tools like GitHub provided, it also added productivity. So it's not going to replace anything. And so far, if we talk about that developers job will be gone, that's most debated topic over the internet today, right? If you just go and look at, each YouTuber talked about it, right? I also created one short YouTube video on it, but it is not going to take any job. It is not going to take any job. This is going to help you back for productivity. I'll quote with one example that 2008, when I started my career, I was working on database, right? That time people used to write code in Notepad on Java or C or other language, right? And then there was early adoption of IDEs like Eclipse, NetBeans, right? You guys are familiar of VS Code. No one was using that time. So everyone was thinking that if I write code on Notepad and then I switch to IDE, this is adding productivity, right? You should be able to write the right code in first attempt rather than just trying it multiple times and doing compilation. So that's where Java was very famous that time, because it does not allow you to build a code which has compilation error, right? And then Python picked up because IDs also supported writing so fast code. Then there was a time when people started talking about drag and drop approach. So workflow, the tools like BPM, business process management, where you just drag and drop boxes in sequence and it creates a business workflow for you, right? Then people started talking about, and this is all the journey that I came through, right? I'm sure that you're gonna see a bright future by enabling with all such tools. So the next, there was a discussion about no code, low code platforms where you just provide the instruction and it creates application for you. But there are limitations. No enterprise organization is using any of the tool which is created on no code, low code. They require developers, they require architects, they require engineers, they require managers like you to draft that custom solution for them. It's not gonna take your job. It's not gonna take anyone's job. It will going to add productivity. So ethical consideration and risk associated with the AI. So we talked about very briefly, right? That there should be some guardrails. Otherwise, it will be a problem for human lives. I'm not saying job or things like that because it can create a rumor which can spread very fast. It can spread very fast. So this is a serious concern where communities should come together and create some guidelines. This is not something you and I can actually build. This is something a responsibility a company like Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, they should come forward and create those guidelines, as it is going to be a disastrous thing if all not coming together and build the solution. Tool towards excellence, and as we are 4 minutes closer to our Q&A session, so augmenting human capabilities in various domains, right? This is something which we should use this tool for. ChatGPT, Bard AI, or any other tool where we take help from it and be more productive. We should find use cases like I talked about scanning retina and predicting the diabetes, right? They should be able to solve some of the problems which could not be solved with legacy technology in the framework. So we should use this to augment human capability. It should be able to, and one of again for one example, right? I was working on very interesting use case, and this company had millions of letters, right? So just think about any organization where millions of letters are printed or emailed for their communication. And if it is the US healthcare industry, right, the problem even becomes more complex that you cannot share to Safali Anil's report by any chance. It's a huge problem, right? So you want to send that communication which is designed for a particular person, which is associated to that particular person, right? That is the problem statement I came across in millions of letters, right? So for a human, it is not possible. It is not possible to read all the letters and understand if the data is correct when I'm sending to this particular person, right? And you will come across similar problems in your lifetime, right? You will be solving similar problems. So how we can build a solution on it, right? Obviously you have to scan all the letters, you have to take the data, meaningful data out of it, and then you have to match whether the data is correct or not. So there are certain rules that need to run. Obviously it is not a software engineering problem. It is not a software engineering problem. It is something can be solved through AI, machine learning, right? So we were taking that data out and we scan, okay, if it is PHI, PII, let's take this through a next workflow and understand if it is associated with Anil or Safali, or just giving quoting an example, right? And then that data should go, that information should go, otherwise it should stop there itself. So with obviously as AI is enabling more use case, business case, it is helping to solve the complex problem that were never solved.
Divya, you can go on.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Divya Kushwaha from XIMB BM batch of 2022-24. So, sir, my question is that since still this whole ChatGPT thing is unfolding, and like we do not have a clear-cut, privacy and security rules and regulation. So, how do companies, especially that in health domain, who actually have a lot of sensitive data, formulate their internal policies so that that any data is not leaked, especially through their employees or clients or such?
Right. As I mentioned, even EXL is also evaluating this tool, right, for implementations, whether we can do it on a public domain or we want to do it on a data which is private to the organization. So there are few examples which is For example, if I need to connect to a customer care, which is on a particular department, that's a public available information, right? That has nothing to do with private data. So these kind of use cases you have to evaluate, right? These kind of use cases can definitely be enabled by ChatGPT and can go on public. But for example, another use case where you want to look at the status of your claim, right? You want to look at the status of your health record. It cannot be public, right? Which means something which is powered by AI and NLP, and we have done it. So we are not using ChatGPT as it is, rather than we are creating our own model and training and keeping this data within the client's system only, so that someone who is using mobile application as a member, or someone who is within the organization should be able to access that data. So you have to identify those boundaries very clearly and should design your system. Hope that answers your question, Divya.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The next question is from Prasuk. You can go on.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Prasad from XIMB GM. My question is, sir, there are thousands of AI applications that are developed every day and are released in the market. So how can we be aware of all of them and be on the top of the AI generation that is going on and take leverage?
And maybe I think, Prasuk, I just need some follow-up on this question, right? You are saying that there are thousands of applications launched every day, right? Or every week. How do we stay on top of it? Is that my understanding correct? That's what your question?
Yes, how can we leverage those technologies and take advantage?
So the best way is to use them, right? Best way is to use them. And that's where you get to know about the limitations. So for example, when ChatGPT came, right? I myself has done a lot of research on it to understand what are the capabilities, so that I can, as a salesperson, talk to my client, right? And I should be able to be really precise in terms of explaining the capabilities. Similarly, it happened for Midjourney, right? Midjourney also has a lot of great capabilities in generating images based on your imagination, and then finally that can be used as an end result. But it also has certain limitations. uh, for for a very long paragraph, right? It provides you a very long results. So that is the limitation for Midjourney. So the best way is look for, and the right place to start reading about them is LinkedIn, right? You can subscribe to newsletters. You can also subscribe to some of the YouTube channels which regularly talks about it, right? And then reading through the Medium article, and last, the best thing is to try it yourself. And obviously, when ChatGPT, so the funny part of it, when ChatGPT was launched, there are several other products, like someone is calling image GPT. They even do not know what GPT stands for, right? They started using GPT in all the application that they build. So you have to be aware from the fakeness of the world, right? So everyone started GPT that doesn't even know what the AI. So the best thing is to implement, try it, and then qualify if it is of your use.
Thank you, sir. Vidhi, you can go on.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vidhi Srivastava from the BM batch of 22-24. So thank you so much, sir, for the insightful talk. Actually, the talk was really, knowledgeable, and the talk that you had regarding the Google I/O that was also, really insightful. I was also recently seeing the Google I/O that Sundar Pichai has launched, and it's very intriguing that after the ChatGPT, Google has completely gone over the AI thing, and because Google were the first who launched the Google, they were always in the AI space, but it was not so much marketed as ChatGPT. And they also have the potential basically to come up with everything that they can, because they have the largest market share in the
Yep.
search industry and all. So my question is basically that as you said that there are no threats to the job, but it is a reality and we can't deny that the jobs are getting affected. Companies are in order to invest in the AI, they are actually laying off people and making more stronger AI departments and all. So, sir, like, what is the, what skills are basically now required in order to, be able to cope up with the layoffs and, not be in that segment? So,
Right.
which skills will
So Vidhi,
be the
you
future?
ask, I think asked the crux of this discussion, and I really like this question. You touched multiple topics. First, why Google is not ahead, right? When we are comparing with ChatGPT. To that, my answer is, and one of my friend is working at Google, right? So I have some internal insights as well, and I usually follow all the Google products. So for that, Google has been building it, right? Google has been building Bard. It's not just a matter of few weeks or months. They have been building it, and that's the reason. If you see, even Gmail as a product, they provided a smart email, right, where they started suggesting you the next sentence what you're writing, and that's available even today, right, before even this Google IO. Now they are saying that they are launching smart email, rather than a smart completing the sentence, they are writing entire email for you. So they have been evolving. But is this, and Google is a very responsible company, right? When ChatGPT was launched, there were certain misuses that you came across, right? Someone is even start asking how to create a bomb, and it has started typing, right? So Google is very responsible company. It cannot just move faster just for the sake it needs to be, right? They are coming with the products which are more matured, more controlled, and the result you will see sooner. Even Sundar Pichai already made this clear that it will not be trained on a model which is 2 years back trained or something like. It will be almost real time. That's the power of Google that you will see. Again, the second thing that you touched, layoffs, right? So there was a demand, right? That most of us, if we were in industry, corporates, we have seen there was 35-40% demand across the market when COVID hit us, right? Because everyone wanted to go digital. That was a demand that was generated, and no company was even untouched because of these demands. Google Meet was also enhanced during this time, and there were certain other products which were came into demand because of this Google Classroom, right? So they hired the talent very rapidly, and obviously they have to make that adjustment again, and this is happening across now. And this is same happened with Amazon, this is same happened with Google, Facebook, other companies, right? But some of the companies who are in services, you have seen minimum layoffs, right? If you talk about TCS, if you talk about Infosys, Cognizant, even EXL, you might not have heard similar news. And the reason is, we work on a requirement that is more consistent. We work on requirements and we evaluate those, right? So the reason is, if you are looking for a stable career perspective, you should target two things. One, that company vision, that they have stability in the market. Second thing, if you're choosing a startup, you should also take care of what is their investment, what is their product vision is, and then how long they can survive, right? So these are some of the parameters, even I'm sure that you are aware of, but it is important to register again that these are the things that qualifies if you should join any company or not, right? You should choose.
Okay,
Okay.
Ahan, you can go on.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ahan Ranjan. I'm from the MBA HRM batch of 22-24. So my question is, like, since there's an introduction of ChatGPT and AI and other programs, and how we've been sort of adopting it in our projects, and how we've been sort of streamlining the projects through that. So my question is, then, do you think creativity, like our own creativity and thinking process, will take a hit if we make usage of such a like vast adoption? And secondly, like, how do we sort of work hand in hand with these technologies so that we preserve our own thinking process and also work with them at the same time?
Very interesting and personal question, I should say. And did you travel recently to some places? Any
Uh,
places for your personal journey, right? Maybe any destination that you covered?
Yes, sir.
Which one was that?
And,
Did you use Google Maps?
yes, sir.
Right. Do you remember the path that you crossed? Can you go without Google Map again?
Definitely not, sir.
So that's the answer, right? These technology enable us adds our productivity at the same time that is making you get used to this, right? Because if there will be no stickiness to that technology, right? You will forget it. So, and we are so much dependent on these gadgets, tools these days, right? There should be some detoxification. I should feel, right? And this Google Map is very classic example that I ask to everyone in my talks, and they all say that they are confident with Google Maps. They cannot do the same journey again without Google Maps. So very similarly on this one, if you start using Chat GPT for any content generation, content creation, or curation, right? You should see the pattern and you should not lose your own productivity. You should take help from it and you should do some of the work without using it. Else, you will be in a situation that you cannot think about. Art is very creative process. Content generation is very creative process. It requires a lot of thoughtfulness, your observations. Then only you should be able to do it very efficiently, right? Same way, if you're using Chat GPT, use it, understand how it writes, right? How it writes your maybe any analysis, and then just try to just get hold of the pattern it uses, and then do it on your own. If you completely relying on it, one day you will not be that creative, right? And obviously the second thing that you ask, how we can use it on a daily basis, just by using it.
Kundan?
Hello, sir. Good
Yes.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Kundan Linka from XIMB BM batch of 2224. Sir, my question is, when we talk about healthcare, for example, as US healthcare, again, the drugs are dispensed based upon different layers of copay or co-insurance. So
Yes.
that tells the constraints are again varied. So what are the major actions that are generally taken on the part of implementation for any kind of AI-based tool when the constraints are varied?
And any use case that you want to talk about, Kundan, like where you
Sir,
want to use the AI, this copay or in general claims process.
sir, in general, for example, medicine dispensing or it would be do so, sir.
So you know about this refill, right? This is a process that where you need to send reminders. So for that, we created a model, and this cannot be just a public model like ChatGPT. You have to build your own, right? We have a member-facing application that we built for a client, and we provided some of the features. So one of those are this drug refill, right, where you have to practically tell them that you need to order drug for the after 1 week, after 2 week, right, and that we take their responses. So for that, obviously you understand their prescription, you understand the requirement, and then you can build the model that after 1 week or something. And sometimes it is so efficient if you're traveling, right, and it understands by looking at your SMSs, your emails. So you need to provide those permissions. That is where iOS and Android, you have seen that it has started asking on each application whether you want to provide access or not, right? Because it is so capable of, if you provide all the access of your entire device, it can even predict that since you are traveling to New York today, you have to get all these drugs in advance so that it should not be a problem, right? So we created an AI model which we trained, and that's working on our mobile application. And this is one of the use cases.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Looks like we have so many more questions yet to be answered, but due to the paucity of time, we'll have to stop here. And as we come to the end of the session, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Sir on behalf of our college for taking time out of his busy schedule and addressing us. And sir, any closing comments you would like to share?
So one thing that I definitely and I wish that I had more time just to cover the rest of the questions, right? These are really insightful for me as well as it is for everyone. right? And feel free to ask this question over LinkedIn. So I'm not sure, like, if you have noticed my comment yesterday on the post that uh, you guys have created. I wanted to interact more and would like to understand some of these questions upfront. So that's opportunity is still open, right? You can ping me these questions on LinkedIn, and I will be happy to answer. On the other side, this event is really helpful for me personally because I got to interact and understand some of the mindset, right? How you guys are thinking, and you guys are going to lead different teams, going to build great products, new lifespan, right? So it's always great to connect and talk to mindset that is so fresh talent in the market. And with this group, which comes with some experience and some of the learnings from your courses, this is even better, right? So thanks for hosting me, Safali and others. This is really insightful, and maybe once this COVID is over, that situation is normal, I would like to interact with you face to face. So that's my closing comments, and I really enjoyed talking to you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. We are looking forward to have you here and connect with you soon for multiple such sessions. And I would also like to thank the members of Illuminatics, the media and PR cell of XIMB for helping us with the event. Sincere gratitude to the audience for keeping this session extremely interactive. Thank you so much, everyone. I request all of you to stay back as the speaker takes our lead. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye. Bye, everyone.